That's the worst possible outcome.
I want it to be clear. Galdric doomed me.
Fucking yep.
Okay, listen, so we're clear. He had that planned anyway. I saw a script. Okay, don't.
No. We had a chance. No.
You know what? Shut the fuck up. Your life is mine anyway. Remember, I've already saved your ass like 9 times.
Yeah,
All right,
and now it's my turn to save yours, apparently.
Mom, Dad, stop fighting! You're ruining Slump's birthday party! You promised you wouldn't do this again!
I know, I'm fucking around.
Hey, we're back. Did we do the thing?
And you guys are back in the bar. And you are whole, you are conscious, you are there, you are alive. The black hole is closed. Volos no longer has a weapon to destroy your entire mission and kill everybody.
It's a big plus. That last one, that's a big plus.
Yeah, and you have 4 of the 5 planar keys. And you realize you probably have, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 seconds before Volos shows up here and kills you all.
Yeah, who's done the room? Take it off.
Oh yeah, thank you. I exactly. I think as soon as they get to the point, I'm like, oh hey, we survived. Slump immediately starts thinking, oh, take it off.
Have you seen the StarCraft cinematic where the one zealot is still standing against the entire Zerg and he turns on like the blades? I immediately turn to like where the portal's gonna come and I'm like just ready for battle, and then I immediately feel Slump grab me by the neck and just drag me. Come on!
No, Mr. Teeny
This is ridiculous!
Okay. Would you guys like to deposit your planar keys in the chamber?
Immediately,
No.
instantaneously, Slump would rip it out of Galdric.
We are carrying him into that room.
Yeah, we would squeeze him like a toothpaste tube.
Yeah, exactly. Just hold him upside down over it.
I think even Locke goes like, I'm fucking doomed to die. You are going into the room. By the scruff of your neck, I swear to God.
I'm picturing Slump shaking me like the bully trying to get my lunch money.
That's exactly what I imagined too. I literally pictured the exact same thing, holding you by your ankles, kind of shaking you upside down. Drop it.
Mine.
When we're inside the room, before we deposit our keys, can I undoom him with my power?
I
Can I give him 1 luck?
I will tell you that the consequences to that will be
Don't do it.
Yeah.
Immediate.
Immediate
Like,
and incredibly severe.
This is a character decision I made. Let it happen.
Like you would sacrifice things that you don't want to sacrifice in order for that to happen.
And that Locke probably doesn't want to sacrifice.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hey, you piece of shit. I want to flick my hand and I want to pull back the book. And I'll just stare at it for a second. Then I'll put it away. Fine. I manifest a building that can hold the key and I throw my key into it.
Yeah. And you guys have now secured 4 of the 5 planar keys. It has come at a bit of a cost, but they are now secure. Being on the pedestals in the chamber, they are now secured. And you guys leave the and you are greeted by Volos.
Shut up.
Wait,
Shut your
hey,
mouth.
no, hey, whoa, hey, what?
And everyone else in the bar is basically stationary. They're kind of stopped.
You have been the biggest pains in my ass
Yeah.
that I ever could have imagined. But you cannot win without my key. And I swear to you this, you will not get it. You will try, and you will do many things. But if there's one thing I'm sure of, it's that if you will prevent my victory, I will prevent yours for all eternity. I will wait for as long as I need to wait for. And eventually, you will slip. And I will win.
And he steps through a portal back into the red ink, and everything returns to normal.
Oh, I hate how he always gets the last word.
Motherfucker.
He's got bad guy powers. He always gets the last word. And you feel that had you spent any more time in the chamber restoring Locke, it would have been a very different scene out here.
Oh, God.
Oh, it'd have been okay. Let them all die.
No!
Let them all die. It's worth it.
And then things return to normal. And Lutu and Arinda and Betty and Tom and Kirby kind of all rush over and try to group hug you guys.
Come get off of me.
Oh my God, I thought you were
Get
all
off.
dead.
I'm not happy.
The big
Get
scary
off.
monster came in here, and then it was you guys.
We made it. It was so crazy out there.
Oh my god.
We were all one person.
I don't even understand what I saw. It was
Neither
so-
do we.
And Lutu kind of gets your guys' attention, says, all right, so I guess things kind of worked out the way they were supposed to.
Well,
I mean, I saw.
They could have gotten better. They could have gotten much better. We could have defeated Volos right there, but whatever.
you know,
You could have defeated Volos?
Yeah, we
No.
could have probably defeated Volos.
no, we
No.
could not have. Don't listen to him. Do not listen to him. There's no, we would have been killed immediately and turned into paste.
No, I think pretty sure we had it in the back, but no, it's fine. No, this
We got-
asshole's-
No more black hole, though.
Yeah, no
everyone,
more
of
black
the, everyone of the white ink is safe. Yay!
Well, that's great.
Safe forever. No need to ever check on them again.
All right. Well, that's good. I mean, I take your word for it. I don't know why
Yep.
you'd lie about something
Leave
like
them to
that.
their own. Leave them to their own devices. They're fine now.
No, that makes sense.
Yep.
How was Lucia? Was she doing all right? I haven't had a chance to see her in a
Fine
long
as
time.
hell.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah, she was.
fine as hell.
All right. I mean, you're kind of talking about a part of me there, so that's
Ooh.
just be a
What
little
can I say?
respectful
You got
there.
nice legs.
All
right. All right. All right.
He has good taste.
All right. So you got all 4 keys in there now?
Yep, 4 of them.
All right, that's great. So, all right. So I guess we're on to the next step then.
Yeah, what's the next step?
He's gonna say defeat Volos.
I'm like side-eyeing Locke this whole time to see what's...
He's gonna say defeat Volos. That's what he's gonna say. That's what he's gonna say.
Well, I mean, it's kind of like defeating Volos, but we got to beat him by taking away his kind of weapons first. So, next step, we've got to destroy Volos's cube. That
I
thing's
thought you were gonna say his underlings already took care of that.
Yeah.
underlings. Oh, Mitra and Vetha.
Yeah, they're
Hey,
yeah,
that's great. So I guess 2/3 of the problem solved.
Yeah.
That's great.
I think we could have taken the cube from him. I think we could have just.
No, definitely could. We would have been dead instantly, flattened. Just ignore him.
Why were you so afraid? Let me ask you. Why? I've got to bring this up. I've got to bring this up.
We paused for
He
a second.
attacked us once, and we
felt the
deflected
power
it.
getting sucked out of us like a toothpaste tube. Do you remember that? Through our fingertips.
Yeah,
Through
well,
our
we just
fingertips?
fight against it. All we gotta do is get the cube. We could have gotten it.
Mr. Teeny Tot suffers from many things, one of which is an overabundance of ego.
No, it's not ego. It's confidence. It's confidence.
It is ego, and the fact that he never thinks that Slump has good ideas.
Listen, you did a very good job. You yelled at him and then he blinked. You did a good job.
Slump has lots of good ideas. Like
You
Slump
do.
thinks that a really tasty sandwich would be tuna and peanut butter, and nobody listens.
What?
Slump has lots of good ideas.
Listen, you have plenty of good. You used the word machinations and you used it correctly. I'm fucking impressed.
Bacon eggs. They're chickens that are made out of bacon, and they lay eggs full of bacon. It's another great idea, but no one ever listens to Slump.
Everything, you can't use ideas with bacon. Bacon ideas are easy.
Slump's ideas are not just limited to bacon ideas. He has many non-related, but like chocolate, eggs. Damn it, Easter eggs. Fuck.
Already exist.
Well, Slump's working on it. Fine. Maybe we could have taken the cube, but Slump doesn't think so.
I think we could have tested the water. Is all I'm saying. So here's why I'm here. I'm gonna like wiggle my finger in the air. This is the only reason I'm upset. Okay? Because I don't. What's the difference between fighting him now that we're all powerless versus fighting him when we're literally at our most powerful form?
Oh, you're not going to be fighting him. No, that's not you. That's not your job.
What? I'm sorry.
mean?
I'm sorry. I do the white guy blinking emoji. Sorry, what?
Well, what we need to do is have someone destroy his cube because, powerful or not, as long as he's got the cube, there's kind of no standing up to him. So destroying the cube's plan number 1. And can't be you. That can't be you that does that.
Why?
Why not?
Because, well,
We're attuned.
gotta go to the red ink to do that. And that's kind of where, I mean, I guess Volos 101, he's from the red ink, so that's kind of his thing.
Yeah, don't like that.
And if you go where his thing is, he's gonna know, and then he'll kill y'all. So
we have to send someone else into the red ink.
yeah, that's right. So we're gonna have you all find some people who could be good replacements, and they're gonna be the ones to go and destroy the cube.
Oh.
After the cube's destroyed, we give you all the keys back, and then you go fight him, and he won't have the cube.
Well, he's probably got some sort of backup, I imagine.
For the record, I fucking hate this.
Some sort of secondary cube, like a sphere or a
No.
triangle?
Well, if Volos' history is any indicator, especially in the green ink, there's going to be a contingency for his contingency.
That's true.
No, that's definitely one of the problems. So,
One of the problems, what are the other ones?
well, the fact that, I mean, I don't know who's going to go in there. We're going to need to find new people. We're going to need to reveal to them the secrets of the universe, I guess.
What about...
Oh, no, just a
Kirby.
small feat.
Kirby.
Yeah.
Well, it's going to have to be people that you've kind of never met or never really interacted with before. They can't be
God.
associated with you in any way, so that Volos will have no idea that they're anything other than just random people.
That's actually
tall
makes
order.
sense. Yeah, that's a very tall order.
Does make sense, but how are we supposed to make it that kind? How are we supposed to know a person good
So-
to make them good?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And
No,
So
how
no,
what
it's
no,
you're
gonna
saying is
go
it has
bad.
to be somebody
yeah.
that we don't know, and it also has to be somebody that we implicitly trust. What?
And, well, no, more than that. Has to be someone you don't know, someone you implicitly trust, someone who's capable of doing this task, and someone that you don't mind dying because they're probably not making it back.
Oh, boy.
Ooh.
Oh, okay.
Them returning
Man.
can't be part of the mission.
Oh
So
boy.
what we should just call them Rogue One. Yeah, right?
Basically.
Why are you laughing? You know you don't get it.
Slump likes when you say words.
Okay.
It's like a small cat making sounds. Beep, beep, beep,
Wow.
beep, beep, beep,
Call me a
beep, beep.
cat.
Look, meow, 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 meow.
So
Slump is working his mouth open and closed.
Meow, 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 meow. Anyways, okay. So where should we look for these people? What about Asgard?
Well, so you can look anywhere you want. Each of you gets to choose. You each pick one person who will take your spot.
From any ink?
From any ink, anywhere you want. And they need to be able to accomplish the mission. And you need to be willing to let them die. Because they're probably not making it back. They won't be getting the power of a planar key. They won't be able to make a portal. We won't know where they are. They don't really have a means of return. They just need to destroy the cube, discover and destroy contingency plans, and then die. And this is not going to be a simple process, so we can start at the beginning, and then
What is the first step?
What? I want to raise my hand. I have a question.
yes.
Can we? Do I have to put my hand down?
Yeah, you don't even have to put it up at any point. You
Oh.
can just ask.
Okay.
Slump puts his hand up.
No, I was talking.
Question. That's what Slump has a question about. What if Slump has a question while someone else has a question?
I raised my
Please
hand.
let's put him-
What do I do if
Okay.
he keeps interrupting me?
Oh, no. See, no.
All right.
Slump puts his hand
Okay.
higher.
But then should he put up
All
his
right.
hand rather than
Yeah,
interrupt
I
someone?
just start
If he-
crawling up
if he
Slump's back so I can put my hand even higher.
All right. Okay. No, raising the hand's a great idea. Okay. From now on, we're raising hands, and I'll just call on the person.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay,
I'll
I raised
just-
my hand again.
Slump is fist pumping like he just won something and he has no fucking idea. He's just very happy.
All right, Mr. Galdric. Yes.
Why can't? I mean, if we can, why don't we just do what Vetha did and just take over somebody in that universe? But it's a projection of us.
Is
that possible?
I mean, so
That
here's
openness. Yeah.
the problem with that is to do something like that, we'd either need to use a bunch of coins, and that's dangerous,
Okay.
or we'd need to use one of the keys, and that's even more dangerous.
Okay. I volunteer. I'll go get it right now. I'll go get it right now.
No, you know what, Mr. Galdric, I'm kind of worried about how much you like using the key.
Maybe
I'm a
an
little bit
intervention?
worried about how eager you are to constantly use it.
I am the key.
I know.
Don't worry about him. He sounds concerning. He just wants to reshape the universe in his image. It's not. It's a phase. They'll get
Yeah,
through it.
it's not a phase. Okay.
It's a phase. They'll get over it. Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's
wanna
gonna be
make a good
great.
universe.
Yeah, it's gonna be the best. Yeah, just ignore him.
This-
It's
Mr.
gonna be the
Galdric.
best. Yep.
Yeah.
Mr. Galdric, if you
Yeah,
love
what?
something,
You gotta let it go. Listen, I already did that, and it came back to me already. You
All
don't let
right.
it go twice. That's fucking stupid.
no, if you love it, let it go. If it comes back, then it's yours, unless you have to let it go again, in which case you have to wait for it to come back again. Then it's really for sure yours, most
Slump's
likely.
Never heard that one.
No, that's the way to say. No, they shortened it. No, they shortened it a
Oh.
couple thousand years ago because they got sick of it. But that's the original form.
Well,
Yeah,
Slump-
you know what was
Slump
here a
believes
couple
him.
thousand years ago? Me.
Well, then you should
Motherfuckers,
know.
because I'm actually a key.
I know. Well, then you should know.
Don't. Whatever. I know I shouldn't have fucking said that.
Okay, so what's the first step then? So, well, yeah, what do we do? Help us, Mr. Ludog. You're our only hope.
We will have to use a couple coins, and for that, I'm a little bit worried. But at this point, honestly, somehow an Oberith seems a little bit less dangerous than Volos taking the keys.
I disagree.
I could
I'll
always be
take the
friends with
keys.
it. I'm pretty good at making unlikely friends.
Name one unlikely friend you've made.
Iron Maidens.
Have you talked to them?
They
Do you
don't.
keep in touch?
Friend is a strong term, Mr. Sweeney.
The other, the bubblefish. Fuck. The bubblefish, whatever his tickles.
Don't call him the bubblefish. He'll show up from this ink if he hears you calling him the bubblefish. Don't call him
That's true.
Listen, that's accurate.
he did do a lot of.
I miss him.
Well, anyway.
All right. Well, if the Oberth shows up, maybe we'll let you have first crack at making friends with it.
Okay.
I mean, you've already met once, right? You met Pale Knight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, I mean, honestly, you guys are already
have
acquaintances.
Pretty short conversation.
Have a rapport.
Pale didn't really ask us too much. You know?
Short conversation. It was basically,
Yeah,
and then
really
we
one-
died.
really one real word.
Why? You know what I mean? So listen, hold on. Here was my idea with the Oberth. Okay, you guys think I haven't thought about this? I have. Okay, this is what I'm thinking we do. Should the Oberth re-arise, I want to try to engage in a dialogue. Just very simple. And what I want to do is, as a planar key, I would use the power of a planar key. We all would. Okay, and essentially what we would do is create. If the Oberth helps us get the last key, we can create a side dimension, all for the Oberth, and only thing that exists there is nothing.
So you're trusting an extraplanar being who hates creation to get a thing that makes creation, to make a thing where they can live forever in non-creation.
Correct.
Slump thinks that they might just cut out the middleman and just move on.
Why not just destroy the key and prevent any of that from happening?
For the same reason it doesn't do so at this very moment, because you can't destroy something that's already been created. If it could have destroyed all of existence, guess what? It's been around longer than any of us. I'm willing to bet it would have done it by now.
What was
Probably
it
would've
doing in the
snuffed it out.
green? Oh,
No. You go on. I was just saying, like, they definitely would probably have snuffed it out at the very beginning of
Yeah.
creation.
Yeah.
right. That's true.
If they could have snuffed this out, I think they would have already done it.
But then what were they working on in the green ink? They were actively doing something there. Weren't they destroying?
The planar key?
The Oberth.
Pale Knight.
Mm-hmm.
I forget, what did that bitch even have to do? She was all like, "Dad." I thought she was just a symptom of what happened. I thought she was a consequence of what happened. She wasn't there. She wasn't there to actually like.
They're
The
like
Oberth wasn't there on a mission. The Oberth was there because of something we did, which was messing with too much ink because of the fucking stones.
Okay, so okay. I will illuminate that a little bit.
Okay.
So the Oberth plot and plan the destruction of all existence constantly, but they're not hasty, and their plans are so convoluted that it's hard to tell what they're doing at any one given time. And sometimes it even seems like they're helping, but that's just because it lines up with the plan that they're already doing. And a lot of the time they're just waiting. They're just waiting for the next piece to fall so that they can enact the next step of their plan. When you guys showed up to the green ink, you kicked off a series of events from the prime ink coin used to bring you there, and from Volos showing up, who is a full planar key, because the world only had fragments of planar keys around, right? So there was no big power for the Oberth to grab and wield. And when Volos showed up following you guys, the Oberth saw a power strong enough to enact the next phase of its plan for destroying everything, which is why it began acting the way it did. Was because finally there was a power close enough and powerful enough for it to begin working with the next phase of its plan, which was to destroy everything, which is what it was doing. It was gathering up all the souls, faith, power, planar keys, and everything to destroy.
So, what is more powerful, a planar key or an Oberth?
Oberith, right? I remember
Oberith.
we learned that nothing in this universe was more powerful than an Oberith.
Yeah. A single planar key is no match for an Oberith.
But something in 5 universes, if we had all of them, then maybe.
Yeah, you have not seen Prime Ink match up against it. However, small amounts of Prime Ink are a deterrent at best because Locke and Lu 2 have constantly been moving the bar because a fight with Prime Ink coins would not end well. That would not go their way. So very, very little so far that's been tested or anything stands any chance against an Oberith. And mostly they're just kind of waiting. Like they have infinite time to wait. They're not hasty, they're not rushing, and so they only act when their plan can be enacted. They don't push their plan, they don't force it. They wait until the universe just happens to be law of statistics. Eventually something's going to happen that is something that they want, and that's when they move.
Galdric gets a grin from ear to ear. Okay. Okay. So what's next?
Well, what's next is, I mean, we start finding people for you to replace you to go into the red ink.
Okay,
I have
didn't
an
like
idea.
the word replace there.
Well, I mean, theoretically, you'd be going.
We've only sacrificed literally everything, and then we're just going to get replaced.
Well, no, I mean, this is just, I mean, unless you want to go there and die. They're the replacements for you dying.
I look at Locke.
What?
Well, no.
Yeah, honey, we gotta talk a little later once we're done here.
Not sure I really like the tone of that.
You won't.
Locke did something stupid.
Well,
Locke did something that saved the keys.
All right.
Hey, wait a minute. I'd like look around the room, and now that Volos is gone, I look at the GM. Can I restore his luck now?
You're not planar keys at the moment.
I can go grab it. It's right there.
Theoretically, you could go
Seems
into
a
the
little
chamber.
power gamey. I won't. Fine. Whatever. Stupid jerk.
He didn't mean that, God. He didn't mean.
I'm respecting it.
He's
I don't
just
gotta
tired.
like it, but
He
I'm
hasn't had his
respecting it.
snack. It's nap time. He just...
Stop rubbing my head.
Oh, it's okay. Shh.
I will remind you that Volos did say he had let the leash run way too long.
Speaking of which, what happened to that curse? That was lifted, right?
Yes,
No.
you guys
was?
had Lucia lifted, I believe.
Yeah.
right, right.
That was one of the reasons we went to go see her. So
Right.
oh,
Yeah.
dang.
Yep,
Oh,
she said
dang.
She said it was for someone who is trained in arcane ways, it's an impossible spell. But for someone who is attempting to manipulate fate, it
Oh,
was
yeah,
honestly
that's right.
very basic. And that she suspected it was his first attempts at learning how to manipulate fate in preparation for when he was the god of everything.
Shoot, I forgot that. That's right.
To give everyone purpose, he wants to be able to manipulate their fate.
okay, so I've got a question for you, Tech.
Yeah.
On average, how long have we spent in each plane?
Let's see. I think you've spent on average, I guess probably a year and a half, 2 years.
Okay. For this, Galdric knows nothing about this, but the fact that he's been a planar key longer than anyone else, when we send whatever the next party is in, can Galdric spend the next year, 2 years learning how to weave fate?
Ooh.
That's interesting.
We can discuss that. You would need to talk to Lucia for that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'd be like, Gold Ink, here I come. I
Yeah.
love steampunk.
Yes.
Victorian steampunk, even.
Yeah. So yeah. while your guys, chosen expendables go into the red ink, you guys will be able to do other things with your time while they're out there. And we can go into a lot of detail about what that is. Practice, training, learning, vacationing, whatever it is you want. That will be an aspect of it. So I guess now that you guys have kind of had that revealed, I'm going to tell you a little bit about what the plan actually is.
Ooh.
Yeah, please do. I'm so curious.
You guys will be building 4 new characters, and they will be the ones doing the next
that's
arc.
fucking cool. That's a cool little spin.
Yeah. Because it is a suicide arc, it can't be your main characters because they will die.
Sad.
So you will be building basically expendables who will go into the red ink to try to accomplish this mission.
So I was planning on asking this in character, but it works here too.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about the red ink?
Yeah. So you guys don't know a ton about it, but I can give you some of the broad strokes. The red ink is basically Nightmare Hellland, and it exists as the cities in it are like horrifically polluted super metropolises. Giant skyscrapers, overwhelming pollution, trash in the streets, acrid air. Everyone is super cramped in. Everybody's just unhappy. Between, they run the spectrum of unhappy to miserable to murderous. And they go and they work pointless jobs that literally have no purpose other than to keep the people busy. The people who run things are actual monsters. People in the red ink world, some people transform. It's not known why or what causes it or where it started, but some people transform into monsters. And when they do, they go completely feral, completely beast-like. They lose all sense of self, and they usually murder a whole ton of people and then run out of city limits. They're usually driven out of city limits if they're not killed, and they're very rarely killed because they're really strong. And it seems like people don't try all that hard to kill it, honestly. Like, the police don't really show up all that well. The authorities don't really try that hard to kill it. They just kind of drive it out of town, and they live outside of city limits. And the outside of city limits are bogs, mountains, forests, just your general horror, awful, spooky places. And there's hundreds and thousands of miles of it between each city. And each city is just like a little circle of metropolis. And all around it for hundreds of miles is Nightmarescape. And there is basically only ever a single road that connects one city to another city. I think what has been gleaned and the information that you've obtained is that some monsters, some people, when they turn into monsters, retain their kind of humanness and develop the ability to transform at will into their monstrous form. They are called the Ascended. And there is one person who turns people into Ascended, and that's Volos. When people are going to transform, when they're going to change, Volos is the person who selects few people, says, show up at my place, I'll help you transform properly, and I'll give you my gift, which will allow you to transform at will. And these Ascended are the people who run everything. That's why they don't try that hard to kill monsters. That's why they try to keep people crushed. That's why they try to profit off the nightmare living hell that all other people in the red ink suffer under. And the hierarchy kind of goes like average person who hates everything, average boss who's driven to madness, Ascended up above who are kind of living at large and living off the profits and suffering of all others, and then Volos up at the very top. And that's basically the basic landscape of the Red Ink.
Sounds fun there.
Yeah. So question for you. So
Yep.
just for my own mental image. So when you say that it's like it's these little towns connected by a tenuous road, and outside of that is like a nightmarish hellscape. When you say a nightmarish hellscape, do you mean like boiling pools of fire, or do you mean like dark, twisted trees and horrifying sounds and crazy multi-eyed beasts lurking in the shadows? Or is it like stone and pointy spires like Mordor, or what is it?
Kind of all of it. Like it's like, you know, like if you were to leave city limits, you'd see a giant bog, just a giant, disgusting, danky, musky, poison bog of rotting trees, moss, and things that lurk in the mud. Beyond that, you'd see a forest that is so dark you can't see your hand in front of your face in it. Twisted trees, cobwebs, low mist, and growling, screeching monsters in the darkness. Beyond that, you'd see the shattered rocks of Mordor like twisted stone spire. Beyond that, you'd see a scorching desert. It's just all the biomes exist out there.
Everything that's unpleasant.
Everything that's unpleasant exists out there, kind of thing.
Okay.
And all the monsters that transform that are not ascended, all the monsters that just go feral, they all live and lurk in the wilds.
Holy shit.
Yep. So that's kind of the Red Ink. And what you need to do is assemble a team of people who will enter the Red Ink, find out what it takes to become ascended, then become ascended, meet Volos, have him control their mutations, find their way into his confidence, and then destroy his plans from within.
Ooh, that's gonna be tough.
Yep. So, many weeks ago, I sent you guys a giant list of all the different classes.
Ah, yes.
Yeah. So you don't need to have anything picked right now. That's not important. If you have had a chance to look at it and know some general ideas of classes you'd like, that's great. But that's not critical for today. Today, we are going to be determining the type of person that you find. This is going to be you building the personality of the character that you will be playing in the Red Ink. I've got a list of questions that I ask you, and as you answer them, you start to build the character. Give you a little bit of inspiration. Nothing set in stone. This is all the stuff that you're just kind of looking for. And then take the notes from today, from our little questionnaire, look at the class sheet that I sent you, and then next week, you will come with both your main character and your Suicide Squad character.
I'm so upset that building already exists because I want him to
Big boy, you ready to go? Okay.
So, in general, you want this to be a character that you haven't met or interacted with in any way. This is basically you creating a brand new character. However, if you feel very strongly about a character that you've met in the past, you can play that character. However, you will be expected to do the voice and take a character sheet that I have for that person. I'll give you their personality traits, their wants and desires, their history, and all that stuff. And you will be expected to maintain that character. So you can choose someone who you've already met.
Dibs on Ula.
She'll blend right in.
No problem.
I'm looking at Slump. You know, you don't get to take Atom. Stop.
So yeah, either this will be a brand new character or perhaps someone you've met previously. But you know, you're taking a lot on your shoulders if you take someone who's already been made.
I've already got a great idea of who I'm going to pick.
Okay.
It's gonna be Kiki. I'm so fucking up.
He would belong so well.
Okay. So basically, we do a bit of a questionnaire. The
do
way
it.
this is, was that?
I said, let's do it.
Okay, awesome. So basically, the way this works is the concept is you're using Prime Ink coins to kind of look through the different worlds, to peer into the different inks, to follow different people, to look for different aspects. We're going to make this pretty minimal cost for Prime Ink coins, so don't worry about saying, oh, I want to check this, I want to check that, I want to look this. Like, we're just going to narratively make sure that you're not like overusing Prime Ink coins so that the Oberth come and destroy everything. Don't worry about asking too many questions or looking at too many different things. Yes, it's requiring Prime Ink. Yes, that's going to draw some attention. I'm going to make sure that it's not too much so that, you know, we don't create a new problem with this solution. So first, Slump, why don't we start with you?
Sure.
So the first question is pretty obvious, and that question is, which ink do they come from? I'm going to run through the inks a little bit.
Sure.
I'm going to give you a little bit of a spiel on why each ink might matter to you. If you have got something totally chosen, awesome. That's great. But maybe something I say changes your mind.
Sure.
So, Slump, which ink do they come from? White. This is your home universe. You know much about the white ink. They're largely technologically advanced compared to a lot of the other places. It's got a history you're very well aware of. It's got many people that you've come to know pretty well. Or green. This was your first venture into the other inks. You weren't born in this ink, but you had some pretty huge moments there. This is where you met Gerby, the candy kobold. This is where you met Saloon and became her champion and wielded her scepter. And this is also where you went to hell. Its history is somewhat known to you, but its future is largely unknown at this moment. It's full of dragons, knights, clerics, and everything high fantasy. Or the blue ink. This is your most recent big adventure. You know a lot about this world through your connection to Galdric, and it feels very natural to you, but it's still foreign. It's full of pirates, swashbucklers, mages, undead. Or the gold ink. This is the most mysterious of the inks for you. You spent virtually no time there. You know almost nothing about the world, and it was radically different than all the other worlds you've experienced. It seems to be a mix of high and low tech, with magic playing a big aspect in the world. So, which ink are you thinking of looking in for this person?
I'm gonna be honest. I'm thinking white ink.
All right.
I've got an idea of the type of person that I have in mind.
Okay. Now, we're going to start building the personality of this person that you're thinking of. We need to know the measure of the person. Next question. What is the measure of their courage? This is not a question for their desire for action, nor a question of their willingness to face danger. This is a question of their reaction to impending death. Do they accept death with their head held high, meeting the end with a calm demeanor? Do they fight death every step of the way, refusing and rejecting death, clawing to life until it rips them from their body? Do they flee from death? Do they desperately look for a way out until the very end? Are they full of fear? And does that overtake them? Would they sacrifice someone else to avoid death? These are the types of things that I want you to think about when you tell me the measure of their courage. Describe to me, when you think of this person who will take your place, what is the measure of their courage?
I would say that they are a mix of the last two options. Definitely not the type to stalwartly face it like a samurai. They're more like always a fan of the tactical retreat, but when backed into a corner and having a pretty good understanding of when backed into a corner, will leave nothing behind. Will fight undead.
Okay, perfect. Next question. The measure of their mind. And now this is not entirely a question of their intelligence, although it does play a factor. This is more of a question of how they utilize their mind. Is their mind a weapon? Do they wield their knowledge, whether it's arcane or martial or knowledge of food or whatever, as a means to succeed and overcome? Is their mind a passive boon? Do they accumulate knowledge like a sponge, and is it retained or does it leak? Is their mind a lesser part of their being, acting more on instinct, perhaps reacting rather than proacting? And is their mind a danger to themselves? Is their mind so overpowering with itself that it questions themselves to a fault? Does it weaken them? What is the measure of their mind?
I would say that's definitely the first category. This is a person whose the vast majority of their arsenal is mind and specifically knowledge of like how to manipulate people, the art of deception, things like that.
Perfect. Next question. A measure of their faith. And this is not a question about their religious faith. This is more of a question about their conviction or belief in something. Once convinced of something, do they hold on to that to death? Do they close their mind to all other input once they are absolutely certain of something? Or do they adapt their beliefs actively? Do they constantly change and update their convictions as their life changes? Or do they lack a strong conviction? Are they swayed by convincing arguments? Do they abandon beliefs entirely when they're contested strongly enough? Can they be convinced that their entire system of thinking is wrong? What is the measure of their faith?
I would say that I think they fit into the category of not being particularly strongly convicted of much. No real main convictions other than self-preservation.
Yep, fair. Final question. The measure of their heart. Is this person kind or cruel? And this is more nuanced than it seems. It is more about intent than action. Like if you were to see a person on the street with no money and no home, it matters less about whether you give them money or food and more about why you choose to or not to. When the person sees suffering, regardless of how they do that, regardless of how they do it, do they have a desire to reduce suffering? They see an ally suffering. Do they feel moved to assist? Or is assisting more of an obligation and an expectation? Is suffering of an enemy considered less egregious than suffering of a friend? And is some suffering acceptable to reduce the suffering elsewhere? Is the pain inflicted by an enemy to be meted out in their punishment? Is there a desire to retribute and inflict suffering as a means to balance the scales? Tell me about the measure of their heart.
I would say that, and I really like that you worded it this particular way because the answer might not be one that someone would otherwise ordinarily expect. And that is, I would say that they're absolutely cruel. This person, walking down the street and seeing a person that was begging for change or something like that, or their house had just been burned down in a raid, he would scoff, maybe laugh and spit and keep going.
Wow. Okay.
Yep. He in terms of his heart, I think the most important thing is, I think he's someone who would base a lot of their convictions on personal experience and have like the most stalwart belief of do what is necessary to guarantee survival, like self-preservation. And that means that like all for one and one for none. No, absolutely. Yeah. Okay. So it sounds like you got a pretty good idea of this person, huh? I think so.
Let me know some description of this person.
Sure. So this is why I think this fits together, and all your questions really cemented it. I'm thinking something to the effect of a character that I made quite a while ago and haven't played for quite a while, and that is Rip Immersion.
Oh yeah.
And Rippy I think fits well because Rippy is kind of like if you've ever played the Fable games, for anyone listening, it's kind of like a guy from like Bowerstone. Like I imagine the dude who wears a beat up looking top hat and will swindle you with a game of cards or something like that. And, is in debt to half the city and, beating the money out of the other half, and is like quick-witted and quick to slip in a word, quick to pick a lock, try to garner favor with a less savory crowd just to advance his own schemes. And the reason that I think he would be a good fit is because I think in this sort of urban corporate hell that the Red Ink sounds like, I think the type of person who could really succeed is someone who understands specifically how to play the game. I very much believe that like even the most heinous, monstrous, and seemingly impenetrable plans can be just that, can be penetrated, can be fucked with by someone with a quick enough wit and someone who like, rather than deciding where to strike, realizes how to get the job done without ever needing to.
Yeah.
And someone who will not think twice about fucking over someone else in the Red Ink, just like everyone that inhabits the Red Ink likely already operates. No one gives a fuck. You have to be willing to look out for number one, and that's it. And I think that he's a good pick because I think he's the type who would be convinced of the severity of the situation by being explained the secrets of the universe and like, this is what you need to do. And that Slump would feel confident picking someone like that because this type of person would understand that they need to help or the universe is fucked. And that would trigger that self-preservation instinct.
Awesome. I love it. I think that's absolutely fantastic. I absolutely love this. And so, you already know the character. That's fantastic. And then over the next week, go through the list and just pick a class that you like, and let me know which one it is, and I'll make sure the abilities work, and if there's any changes, I'll let you know. But yeah, so characters, awesome. All you need to do is pick the class.
Fuck yeah.
Perfect. Does anyone else feel strongly about their answer and want to go next?
I do.
Okay. So then, Locke, I will give you the same questions. The very first one, of course, I've got the little blurb about each of the inks. First question, which ink do they come from? Locke, white, this is your home of homes. You've been alive for so long and seen so much, it's been exclusively here in the white ink. You've seen ages come and go. You've witnessed the change of humans from a single sun species to an intergalactic one. And your heart resides here in this ink as well. The green was your first time in another ink. You'd seen other people do it, but this was the first time losing all your power and magic and being humbled by the might of another universe. You were there to rescue the party when they came out of hell, and you came face to face with the Oberith, the forces that you have been aware of and avoiding for so long since you and Lu2 started using prime ink coins. The blue ink was your first long mission out of the white ink, and it was brutal, terrifying, and illuminating. You lost part of your arm, and you died at one part. You deciphered Volos's curse, and you learned to wield fire in new and interesting ways. You met more mages than I think you have ever known before, and you got to go to school, mage school, for a little while. And then there's the gold ink, which is still the most mysterious of the inks. You knew that it was a special place, and you knew that Lu2 had to protect it, and you did your best to help him. Part of your heart lived there, but not the part you grew to know and love. It's a special place, but very unknown to you. So, which ink does the person come from?
Gold.
Okay. The next question is the measure of their courage. Would you like me to repeat the options, or do you kind of know?
Repeat the options. Summarized.
Yeah. So basically, the measure of their courage is their reaction to impending death, whether they can meet it calm, with a head held high, whether they fight death to the very, very end, whether they flee from it and cower from it, and whether they sacrifice others.
I would say he would definitely sacrifice others, and fight if it was the only option he had. He would throw someone under the bus rather than do it himself.
Okay. Yeah. All right. The next one is the measure of their mind. And this one is a question of how they utilize their mind. Is their mind a weapon? Do they weaponize their knowledge, whether it's arcane or martial? Is their mind a passive boon? Do they accumulate knowledge like a sponge? Or is their mind a lesser part of their being, perhaps are acting more on instinct or reacting rather than proacting? And is their mind a danger to themselves? Do they doubt themselves, and does that weaken them?
I would say that their mind is somewhat of a weapon. It's what they've had. It's all they've had to survive. I'm kind of imagining this guy from one of the lesser fortunate cities that exist in that realm. Like always starving, always having to raid another city when they get close to one. Like always tooth and nail. But if I can throw another body at that person, well, I get his share and the one and mine.
Yep,
so
absolutely.
So I would say he's that kind of person.
Yep. Next is the question of their faith. And this is a question about their conviction or belief in something. And this is basically, once convinced, do they hold on to that until death? Or can they change their mind based on active information? Or do they lack a strong conviction such that a convincing argument can sway them?
I'd say their mind can be changed. He's had to be adaptive in the past, and sometimes changing his position was more beneficial in the end.
Okay, personal. Perfect. Okay. And the last question, the measure of their heart. Are they kind or are they cruel? And this is intent, not action. This is, do they seek to reduce suffering? And is assisting allies expected, or is it actually, do they feel moved? And do they consider the suffering of their enemies to be the same as the suffering of their allies? And do they feel that making an enemy suffering is balance for the injustices that enemy caused? So tell me about the measure of their heart when it comes to the suffering of others.
I think the suffering of an ally versus the suffering of a friend are the same. That I'm trying to remember some of the questions here, but
I mean, basically, this is, it doesn't have to be any one of the options. It's just like, tell me how they react to seeing suffering. Are they kind or are they cruel? Do they seek to reduce suffering, or do they not care? Like, do the suffering not impact them?
I would say that at one point it did. And he has become, I think jaded's the wrong word, but like, because he's had to do what he's had to do to make it, that it just kind of, that concern has slowly numbed.
Yeah, I was going to say kind of numbed, right?
Yeah, I would say it's still there. It's still there, but it is just a very quiet whisper in a far off land in his head.
Yeah, gotcha. Numbed but not gone kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. So do you have an idea of this character that you're kind of talking about?
Yeah, I kind of
And you don't have to describe it now. You got a full week to sit down and come up with some names and some story and stuff like that. But it sounds like you got a pretty good idea of this character.
It's a variation of the Ascendant. I imagine that this is the Gold Shards version of that character.
Ah, okay, gotcha.
Like everyone has a double.
Yeah,
that's his double in the gold.
Gotcha. Perfect. Okay, perfect. Okay, that's excellent. Next is Lou.
Yeah.
We'll start with the first question because I got the little blurb for it. Lou, there we go. Which ink do they come from? White. This is your home, mostly. It's the only place you've ever known, really, but in light of certain events, you know that a part of you has always resided in gold. Still, you have friends, family, and a history in the white ink. It was here that you met Volos for the first time. But it was also where you met Kirby, Tom, Lutu, and the entire party. Or green. This is your first time in another ink. You met a god here, and that seemed to have a really big impact. Ogma. He embodied so many of the things you care and hold dear. You care about and hold dear. You actually became a planar key here for a brief period of time, and you faced down Volos one-on-one, and you rebuked him. You witnessed the love between Azar and Zelaran, and you witnessed the Oberith, and you went to hell. Or blue. This is your most recent universe for the big adventure. You were a swashbuckling pirate. You sailed the seas, you learned a new method of healing, and met many mages of different temperances. You had a very tentative relationship with a god you weren't sure of, but I think in the end, you learned they were pretty neat. Vorgos the giant owl. Or gold. Gold is very unique to you. You know so little of it from your time being there, but you've learned that a large piece of you has always been here, or has come from here, and the warmest feeling of mutual love has been from Lucia, which is a piece of you in some way. Or, I mean, if it's not a piece of you, you were a home to that piece kind of thing. It's where you became the gold planar key and realized how natural that felt. So, which ink does the person come from?
Ooh, for this mission, the green ink.
Green. Okay, and now we can go to the questions. The measure of their courage. So this is, do you kind of know?
Yeah.
Perfect.
I think that they would, so it's the reaction to death, right?
Yep.
So I think that they would approach it fundamentally with curiosity, fighting along the way to stay alive and learn more, but accepting death with curiosity.
Very interesting. I love that. Okay, the next question, the measure of their mind. So this is how they utilize their mind. As a weapon, is it passive, or is it instinct?
Right. I think their mind is like their whole self. Like they'll forget about their body entirely in favor of the mind. And it's their main tool, whether it's a weapon or or otherwise kind of thing, just getting by. It's the main part of themselves.
Very interesting. Next question, the measure of their faith. This is their conviction.
I think they have conviction for their main belief, but like the beliefs around it would fluctuate with new information. So there's a core that is always true, and then everything around it can be changed. So they couldn't be convinced that their system of thinking was wrong, just lacking information.
Okay. Perfect. And then the last question, the measure of their heart. Is the person kind or cruel in intent?
Well, I think for this person, can I say that suffering isn't really a factor to them? Like so maybe then they're cruel by indifference kind of thing. Like they just do not care. It's not about that. Yeah.
Yep, exactly. And that would be kind of the definition of cruel, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, that's, but yeah, no, okay. I like that. Yep.
Yeah. So it's not enjoying the suffering.
No, exactly.
Just,
that's malicious.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. I love it. So it sounds like you kind of have an idea for this character.
I do. Yes.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about it, or do you want to kind of build it in the downtime?
I'll build it a little more.
Yeah, that sounds perfect. Okay, Galdric, last one. Let's give you your little blurb about the inks and see if anything strikes home for you. So, which ink do they come from? White. This is not necessarily your home now, but it is the primary location for the collection. It's been home base for a while, but with your restored memories, you know that this is not where you originally came from. But that doesn't mean that it doesn't matter. Many friends have come from here, and it's where your journey started. Or green. This was not your first adventure into another ink, but it was the first time you fused to the skin that you were in and lost your angelic powers. It was here that you first met the Oberith and contended with the forces of absolute destruction. This was also your first time going to hell and being the servant of a demon rather than fighting them. Blue, and now this is your home. This is, with your memories returned, you know that this is home and your creation. You were and are the force of creation and judgment in that realm. Everyone and everything in it came from you, and you know full well the capability of the people within its realm. Or gold. And this is still definitely the most mysterious ink. You spent so little time here that you can't really account for the people, methods, histories, or futures of the world. The one big standout is that you definitely love the aesthetic. Which ink do they come from?
Probably the gold.
Perfect.
I'm just kidding. Go fuck yourself. I'm not doing gold. I'm absolutely kidding. I hate you. I think it makes the most sense to pick somebody from the white because there's a lot of worlds, a lot of corporations, a lot of similar vibes.
Yeah, super true. Super true. Okay, so then the next question is the measure of their courage, how they face death. How do they face? Do you want to read the little prompts?
How do they face death?
Yeah.
I would say kind of similar to what Slump said. They're a fan of the tactical retreat, but will go down with the ship once it's time.
Okay.
They're not eager for the warrior's death.
Gotcha. Okay, perfect. The next question is the measure of their mind, and this is how they utilize their mind. Is it a weapon? Is it a passive boon? Is it not really an aspect and they more react or with instinct? So,
I would say the mind is this person's strongest tool.
Very interesting. Next question, the measure of their faith. This is about their conviction.
I would say he has had strong convictions growing up, lessons from daddy that he believes in and has a very strong conviction type.
Very interesting. Okay. And the final question, the measure of their heart. Are they kind or are they cruel?
Somewhere in the middle, I would say.
Okay,
they're not overly kind to where he's not Galdric to where he's, he always tries to do right by everybody sort of thing.
Yeah.
He's perfectly content inflicting a bit of pain if the pain is deserved. Like the thing like, oh, I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy.
Yeah.
He would wish things like that on him.
Oh, okay, gotcha. I would wish that on my worst enemies.
Yeah. But not his worst enemies, but like the worst enemies.
Oh, on
like
the worst.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I got you. Yeah. Sure. Okay. Do you have an idea for this character, really?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
I haven't played him in years, and I don't really have a huge arsenal of characters.
Totally. I mean, you can always make a new one inspired by another character or whatever, and you don't have to iron it out right now. So basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you guys these prompts and your responses to help you kind of write a little bit of the backstory of the character.
I already know who I'm bringing in.
Okay.
I've already decided.
Awesome, perfect. So then, I'll still send you guys a little prompt so you just know what you said and can help build the character if you want. And then other than that, make sure you pick your classes for next time off the sheet that I sent you guys. Guys, I think we can kind of call it there.
Fuck yeah, man. That was fucking holy shit. Dude. The amount of shit that just happened in that episode. Oh my God.
I know, right?
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. Very,
I forgot
very
how fun this was.
I know, it was awesome. It was so
I forgot
nice.
how fun this was. It's only been 2 weeks, but goddamn, I missed
Fucking
it.
amazing,
Oh,
man.
man.
Seriously.
I'm so glad, guys. That was a lot of fun. It was dice rolling light, but narrative heavy.
Dude, so fucking sick. And once again, man, with those goddamn music cues, you're just fucking killing it. Holy shit. That fucking song again, as you were describing each person getting the key, man. Holy fuck, dude. Awesome. Well, next week.
Yeah, same time, same place next week, guys.
Fuck yeah.
Awesome.
See you guys then.
Yeah, I'll see you guys then.
Later.
Bye.
Bye.